Howdy, folks. Welcome back or welcome aboard. You are listening to the Doc Owen Show, and we are glad you're here. First-time visitor or folks coming back, we really appreciate it. I am joined in the Hilltop Studios by...
I'm a Fire.
And
Uncle Bocce.
Uncle Dabachi, full house, ready to rock and roll. Big doings tonight. Lots of announcements to make.
Awesome.
Yeah, we are right where we belong on the timeline.
Awesome.
We are all over the social media for a limited time. Catch us while you can as Doc Owen Show, DOCOWENSHOW. Facebook. It's really good to follow the Doc Owen Show on Twitter because you get a tweet when the show goes live. And if you are smart enough to have downloaded the iPhone or Android Doc Owen Show app, which is completely free, you can just listen to it right then and there because Twitter will tell you when we hit the air. The rest of it doesn't occur until the show is over in terms of Facebook, the blog, which is called the DocOwenShow.com, DOCOWENSHOW. And speaking of the blog, we made a promise earlier during the quarter, basically, sometime between January the 1st and the end of March, that we would have the Doc Owen Show store up, running, and operational. Thanks to Ms. Surefire alone, with a little bit of technical help, but mostly Ms. Surefire, the DocOwenShow.com has taken on a completely different look and feel, and the store is open. It's just like any other store. It's got limited merchandise in it right now, but it's out there, it's on the web, and it will be growing, and the merchandise links and the links to our affiliate marketing things that we've been able to find that support our 3.xps, and I'll tell you why it's .x in a minute, because we started out with we were going to support things that would help you be prepared, that were practical and patriotic, or fell into one of those categories. Ms. Surefire then came up with the fact underprepared. For the ladies in the audience, we needed a pampered. All right? And then, of course, you have to think of your pet. Because you're not going to bug out. You're not going to leave your pet behind. So we added another P. So rather than put the 3.1, which is what we had with pampered, now we got 3.0. We might as well go ahead and call it 3.x because there's going to be apparently others that are going to come up, maybe under the Patriot or the Practical, so we can balance the beam there when we're looking for stores to affiliate with. We're really proud of having it out there. It's not so much about, the Doc Owen Show gets a minor commission if you go to one of those stores and you find something you like. We get paid a few pennies, and it's not so much about that as it is just our desire and willingness to provide you links to things that we think might be of interest and or of value to you. So that's what the store is all about. That's what any good store should be about, is taking care of their customers, and that's exactly what we're doing. So, Ms. Surefire, give yourself a round of applause. Hit that little applause thing and see if it works.
There you go.
No? I don't hear it.
I don't know.
Well, we don't know either.
It might be on.
Okay.
There it goes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some things that we click on and we can't because of the way we're wired up. It's going on over the air, but we can't hear it in the studio. Mm-hmm. So
imagine that.
Yeah, it happens, and vice versa sometimes. So
Okay.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sure.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. We've been waiting a while on that. So
great job.
And,
great job.
I'm very impressed with project management skills of being on time, on budget, and hitting deadlines. That's not easy to do. And with all the other things that she juggles, she got that done. So we really appreciate it. What else do we need to tell them? We got a lot to talk about tonight, so we better dive into it. We always start the show in a very traditional manner, and that is Ms. Surefire gives us something of inspiration that she's found. Uncle Bocce gives us a moment about this day in history, and I round it out lately with a quote from the Scriptures. That's as good as a leadership quote because that's as good as it gets in terms of who and what we should follow. So, Ms. Surefire, take it away.
And tonight's quote comes from a site I use pretty regularly now, brainyquote.com.
Brainy quote.
BRAINY quote.com.
So,
And tonight's quote comes from someone that I hadn't heard of, but maybe others have. His name is Joseph Campbell, and he was an American author.
Huh, and I've not heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. He had some pretty good quotes, but I picked this one tonight. It says, "We're so engaged in doing things to achieve purposes of outer value that we forget the inner value. The rapture that is associated with being alive is what it is all about."
very good.
Interesting. Well done. Thank you, Mr. Joseph Campbell and
inner
Ms.
self.
Surefire. Yep. Uncle Bocce,
Yes, sir.
anything
We're
happened
gonna-
in the past that we need to know about?
Yes, there are quite a few things, actually.
Pick one or two, will you?
Well, yeah. I
Okay.
was going to give you for the whole week. Anyway, Parliament was very busy during this week, even though during different years, they passed the Quartering Act, the Boston Port Act, and the Coercive Acts, and we studied those. You can go back and look them up or do your own research. We started giving money to the Palestinians in 1949. That was under Harry Truman, right after the 1948 war. So our money started going to them. South Carolina approves the Constitution. Jefferson was elected to the Continental Congress. And Congress...
Wait. I was distracted.
What?
The last I heard, we started giving money to Israel in 1948.
No, to Palestine.
Oh, to Palestine
Yeah.
in 1948, right?
49. We started.
1949.
After.
And then that was followed by somebody ratifying the Constitution?
Yeah, South Carolina.
Not in 1949.
No. 1776.
Ay,
Maybe
chingada.
this isn't work. I should just give the year. Or I should stick to what happened today.
Today.
Yeah.
Well, or that just threw me off. That's all.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's
well,
okay.
that's
We're not
it.
broadcasting anyway, so it doesn't make any difference.
We're not?
We're recording, though.
I set us up on the wrong button, so for those of you that tuned in to listen to us live, you missed it. But that's all right. We get a lot more play out of our affiliates and the networks that we're on and the podcasting than we do the actual live broadcast. And there is absolutely no mistaking that. So no big deal. But it was my bad. I set Ms. Surefire down at a pre-configured console, and I did it wrong. So there you go.
Life goes on.
So it's my turn, right? Was that it, Bocce? Did I
Yes,
throw you off? Okay,
absolutely.
That was it? Okay.
Yeah, you threw me off, but that's okay.
Okay.
I get thrown off all the time.
There you go. So our leadership quote, or our ways to lead your life, are out of this little book given to us by G called God Bless America. And it's from Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, verse 26. To the man who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness.
Amen.
There you go.
That's true.
That's, yeah.
I
There you
like
go.
that.
Wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. All right. Uncle Bocce,
Yeah.
you want to give us 7 to 10 minutes or so of a history lesson
Yes.
about
Try to get this.
presidents?
Yes, sir.
Who are we talking about tonight?
We're talking about number 37, Richard Millhouse Nixon.
There you go again. Calling
Yep.
part of my life history.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. To you guys on listening, it's history. Anyway, as far as his education, he went to public school, he went to high school, and he then attended Whittier College, and he graduated with a history degree. And then he went to #1, Duke, NCAA, right? He went to Duke University Law School, and he was admitted to the bar. So, history and law, figure those two out.
But it's my understanding that where he fell short was his undergrad was from Whittier.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know that much about Whittier.
Well, the only thing you need to know is that they are totally misnamed because they are really not that funny.
You're not witty.
Oh, Whitty. Is that it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
He didn't
All righty. In 1968, the Republicans chose Richard Nixon to run as the Republican candidate, along with Spiro Agnew.
Over whom?
Over whom?
Yeah. Who was in the primary that lost?
I'm
You
sorry.
remember?
No, I
Okay,
don't.
Go ahead.
I don't.
Keep going.
Okay. He ended up defeating Democrat Hubert Humphrey. I once shook Hubert Humphrey's hand.
Really?
Yes.
His
in
left hand or
Philadelphia.
His left hand or his right hand?
His right hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Philadelphia.
You must have had to coach him so he'd know which one to put out.
Oh,
Probably,
my
yeah.
goodness.
Good for you.
So, he won the 68 election. Then in 1972 is opposed by George McGovern.
Right.
And he got whooped. That is,
McGovern did.
George did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
was
Richard
a little
Nixon
too
came away
outspoken.
520 electoral votes. And those electoral votes are important, people.
Yeah, there's some stuff
You
going
can-
on. Maybe we can talk about that if we have time.
Yeah, or
Okay.
just send me a note. And I'll let you know what the Electoral College is all about. Okay, so he had a number of different things that happened. There was a lot of things happening during his administration. Domestically, the environment, he did protect the environment. The Environmental Protection Agency he created, so blame it on him. And he's a Republican. In space, we sent Apollo 11 up there to land on the moon. Economy, he was tinkering with wage and price freezes and tax cuts and temporary closure of gold window because he didn't want foreign countries to come in and demand gold for the dollar. He improved the nation's balance of trade. He called for a 10% import tax. And the Arab oil boycott happened back then. If those of you who remembered, lines and lines and lines at the gas station. And gas was expensive for that time. And that ended up pushing the economy into a recession. He had a lot of regulations that came about. He created OSHA, which is Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Some of you may have heard of that. The EPA, I guess, I'm not going to say much about them. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. He had made amendments to the 1967 Clear Air Act calling for reductions in automobile emissions.
That national
And the national testing.
the National Oceanographic,
Yeah.
known today as the Weather Channel. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's interesting.
He also had a Noise Control Act, the Marine Mammal Protection Act, Endangered Species Act, Safe Drinking Water Act. So if any of you wonder where a lot of these regulations came from, Nixon poured them on. Of course, LBJ did too, but it didn't stop there. He had the National Health Insurance Partnership Program, which gave us the HMOs back then. Welfare reform replaced much of the welfare system with a negative income tax to provide a safety net for the poor.
Right.
So it was a financial incentive for welfare recipients to work. that was part of it as well. But why would they if they're getting more? You know, who knows? Food stamp, he expanded, and he also put into law the SSI, which was Social Security income for disabled citizens. So it was Nixon who gave us that. The Vietnam War, we're not going to talk much about it, except that he tried, the Kent State University, there were people killed at that. There was a lot of protests against the war. And Nixon wanted to have a peace treaty, but he was unsuccessful in getting to it. China, he was the first president to go to China, and he wanted to encourage peace there. And going along with that, he also established détente with the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So what Nixon did was he knew that the Soviet Union was on the march. He knew that the communist Chinese were on the march. So he played one against the other and got what he wanted from these two nations. So
right.
that was a good thing. And the scandals, of course, the big one,
Watergate.
Even you millennials probably know about that.
Well, you do know about it because now, since that time, every scandal there is ends with Gate.
Gate, that's right.
But do you know? But the millennials probably don't know that the Watergate was the hotel across from the White
business
House.
Complex. Yeah.
The hotel and business complex. Literally, the name of it was the Watergate.
Yes.
And that's where the
Democrat.
theft and blah blah blah. Anyway,
Yeah.
So we don't need to get into it. It's all a bunch of
No,
nonsense.
it's all history. So for some of us, while there are many important events, the biggest really in his administration were the Vietnam War. He did bring that. He eventually brought that to a conclusion. His visit to China and Man on the Moon, and of course the Watergate scandal.
Right.
Now, here is a quote from the man.
Okay. Quarters.
Let me see. I
am not a crook. What
Yeah,
else
well,
he
he
say?
did say that.
Okay.
Yeah. One of his quotes was, "The finest steel has to go through the hottest fire."
Right.
And this man was put through the fire. Just like
Nothing compared to what Trump's got.
nothing compared to Trump. But the press went after Nixon.
Of course, he's a Republican.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where it all started.
And also he said this quote. This is a good one.
But he literally resigned to save the nation a bunch of
Yes, he did.
the stuff of what
Yeah.
we've been going through for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he fell on his sword,
He did.
whether
He did.
whether he had it coming or not.
Yeah. Okay. And he also said, if you take no risks, you will suffer no defeats. But if you take no risks, you win no victories.
Right.
So that was pretty much Richard Nixon, a good man.
You want me to answer who he defeated in the primaries to get the nomination?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nelson Rockefeller
Okay, I was going to say Rockefeller.
and Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan ran that early?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I know he ran in 1976.
He didn't get there. He didn't get there. I mean, that was like you just dipping his toe in the water to see what it would be like. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Yep. He
Okay.
defeated.
He was the governor of California?
Yeah.
For a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I took the time while you were talking to Google it. I thought my memory served me, but I made sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ronald Reagan. But that was his first defeat. So thanks, man. Good job.
That's it.
Who are you?
I am Uncle Bachi, UNCLEBACI at DocOwenShow.com. You can.
And all of those links all of our email links are available on the new DocOwenShow.com website.
Yes.
Or you can look under the About Us or Contact.
About
put it?
Us is the Twitter handles that we have.
Okay.
And Contact Us or the email.
Or the emails. Okay. And you are soon to be annoyed by a pop-up because we really want to build our email list. So we're going to take advantage of the fact that when you log on up will pop an opportunity for you to join the Doc Owen Show Insider email list. And you will be happy to know, in today's world, all we ask you for is your first name, your last name, and your email. That's it. Mm-hmm. No other identifiable information. And we own and operate and keep very secure the email list. So,
amen.
It is not going anywhere. So let's talk about what do you want to talk about first? I mean, there's just an awful lot going on in this world, and the title of tonight's show is what? What did I name it? Cue
the banners.
Oh,
Pay
cue
attention.
the banners, and I spelled Q
Like
out. Queue. And the reason you have to do that is because if you don't, our show would be banned on YouTube and Facebook and other places if we just use the letter Q.
Are you serious?
Yes. So what the Q movement, the Q patriotic movement has taken to doing is using nothing but what are called memes. In other words, it's a picture of something and the writing is on top of the meme because their recognition software that the big tech companies are using to ban our voice can't read the letters in the picture. So they have to put them in those pictures to get their voice heard. You follow me?
Yeah.
So if you just put it in print, boom, you're out of there. They wipe it out. It will not show up. So
amazing.
Yep. Anyway, there's just all sorts of tricks going on. Speaking of that, let's talk a little bit of history. I don't think Uncle Bocce was aware of this. I learned about it paying attention to some Q posts. The CIA, if you're not familiar, stands for the Central Intelligence Agency.
Yes.
All right. And it's and we have known since they were set up that it was our spy operation.
Right.
All right. It was equal to, we knew that Russia had spies, China had spies, everybody had spies.
Yeah.
Shortly before or during World War II was when it all sort of came about.
Yeah.
What are you trying
And what
to
is
say?
it? No, it was at the beginning. It was specifically connected to communist
Well,
activities. Go ahead.
you're
Go ahead.
absolutely correct.
Yeah, go ahead.
And their charter, not just their charter, but their constitutional that's right, you're through it anyway. The constitutional reservation, in other words, they cannot operate inside the United States.
Right.
Okay. The CIA is only allowed to operate outside the United States. And that was something that was put together in the law when they were formed so that they wouldn't spy on their own people.
Right.
Right? And so we didn't have to worry about them spying on us.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Well, not too long ago, in the late 1990s, the CIA had, I've just drawn a mental blank, had a program called LifeLog, LIFELOG.
Okay.
All right. They spent 5 years developing this technology and this application, et cetera, to do a thing called LifeLog, where they were going to catalog every individual's life, your friends, your family, where you were born, where you grew up, what the things that you liked, where you did this, and where everything about your life. The CIA was going to catalog, right? But they couldn't do it in the United States because of their charter.
Right.
So,
that's why I got this puzzle
but
book on my face.
they had this technology called LifeLog, this application called LifeLog. Okay, the very day in 2004, within hours, the CIA made a huge announcement, a huge press release that they had discontinued LifeLog. They had stopped this application, this program. They were no longer going to do that. And the American public went, yay, hooray, hurrah. And then a few hours later, a company was formed called Facebook. Coincidence? I don't think so. Facebook took up right where LifeLog left off.
Oh, my goodness.
Want to know why they're in trouble now? Because that's the root. That is the root of Facebook. It was not written in a Harvard dormitory by this Schmuckzuck guy. He's a CIA plant.
Boy, your
Within
government is
hours,
so sinister.
same day.
Go ahead.
Just something I learned on the Q channel. All right.
Wow.
All sorts of interesting stuff.
That's crazy.
Coming out. So, Bocce informed me because I don't pay a lot of attention to current events. I don't watch the news at all. We occasionally turn on the news on a little bit of TV. We've got to catch the weather and what they think the weather is going to be, and maybe some local news if we saw an event or something we'd like to know something about. It's my understanding that that the Mueller report is done.
Right.
It's in the can, as we say.
300 pages of it.
As we say in the radio and TV land. All right. So that's 300 pages, $25 million. How much is that a page?
It's a lot.
A lot of money. More than a lawyer. So, but they found nothing.
Absolutely
That
nothing.
they found things,
Yeah.
but they found absolutely nothing
And they
that
ruined-
they were supposed to be looking for.
And they ruined a couple of people's lives.
They ruined
In
a
the-
lot of
in the-
people's lives.
Yep.
That's how this thing works.
Yep.
So, but they found no collusion. They found no obstruction of justice. Right?
Right.
So, President Trump and his administration have a clean bill of health. No matter what the loud mouths in the House of Representatives would have you believe.
The committee chairs, yes.
Okay? They're just smacking their gums.
They are.
There's nothing they can do about it but squawk like a bunch of peacocks in the backyard. They can't fly. They can't get out. They can't do anything. Because anything they would want to do has to go through the Senate.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
One of those committee members, if I might say this,
might.
he asked 81 people, 81 to submit a documentation. All their documentation to him, and he wanted to interview all of them.
Right.
Guess how many responded?
2?
Nope.
None?
None.
Good.
Good for them.
Good for them. They don't have to. I mean, it's just nonsense.
It is.
It's just theater, right?
Yeah, it is.
But
Kabuki.
to the Patriot movement,
Yay.
the Mueller report is not the end.
That's right.
The Mueller report is the beginning.
Yeah.
Because all the things that were learned during the Mueller investigation can now be made public. Trump was advised by his lawyers not to declassify any information, not to have anything at all to do with the Mueller report, for fear that it could be construed as obstruction of justice, obstruction of the Mueller investigation, and then Trump would be in trouble.
Right.
So he has been biting his tongue, biding his time, all this time. And if you don't know anything, whether you like him or not, if you haven't figured something out about him, all the way through the primaries, all the way through the election, and ever since he's been in office, he knows far more than you think he knows. He's way out there in terms of his knowledge, and the amount of patience he has not to lose it.
Yeah.
and stick with a plan, as the Q Patriots call it. But The Mueller report is not the end. The Mueller report is the beginning. And
I like that.
You just have to stop and think. It's the removal of all of the obstruction. Other than having loud voices and being able to get in front of a camera on fake news every once in a while, there's nothing they can do.
Right.
I mean, even if there was anything they could do, if Mueller spent $25 million in 2 years and some of the best cotton-picking lawyers in the United States and couldn't find anything, exactly what evidence is it that they think they have? If they have evidence, they would have given it to Mueller.
Yeah.
Think about it. There is no evidence.
Yeah. They're just using
nonsense
that to squawk.
So let's carry it a step further. What's going to happen? Are we going to see justice? There are a lot of people out there, patriots, a lot of people that were just waiting for Mueller to be done, hoping that the bad guys would go to jail. If you listened to us last week, you'll remember we talked about the battle between good and evil.
Right.
And that's what this is. This is a spiritual battle. Nonetheless, spiritual or not, there's some natural people that need to pay the price for what they did.
Absolutely.
Or attempted to do. And that was overthrow the sitting president of the United States of America. Whether you like him or not. It's not up to you whether you like him or not. It's a constitutional legal matter. I mean,
yeah.
The guy's from New Jersey. I think if I met him in person, I wouldn't be too crazy about him either. He just looks too slick for me.
Hey.
Yeah, just saying.
I'm from New Jersey.
I'm saying, yeah. But you've been here a while. But he's just, you know
I
what I'm saying?
want to make you a special concrete coffin.
Exactly. So, but
it's,
you know what I'm saying? We don't have to like him. We respect the office.
Right.
And so these folks are trying to
Right.
They've been treasonously undermining the constitutional government of the United States of America. Is what they've been doing in the highest order. So, how do we make them pay? Do we make them pay? I mean, ask yourself that question.
Yeah, because I'm like right in the middle. It's the best of times and it's the worst of times.
Well,
and I'm just like you guys. I'm pissed that all these people are getting away with stuff.
Well, it sort of makes you not want to feel too bad about breaking the law.
Well, that too. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Everybody else does it, quote unquote, air quote.
Jussie Smollett.
Do you? Yeah, we don't even go there.
Yeah.
That's not over yet either. No. So, do you remember the back and forth, the conversation that Senator Lindsey Graham, had with then candidate for the Supreme Court, Kavanaugh? Do you recall anything about that?
Mm-hmm.
Kavanaugh, Lindsey Graham took Kavanaugh down the path of explaining the rightful place of what is known commonly as military tribunals, is what they're called in the street vernacular. In reality, it is a court of law, and the law is the UCMJ, the Universal Code of Military Justice, is what it stands for. All military services, when you're in the service, you're under the rule of the UCMJ, not the Constitution, the UCMJ. They're a lot alike. The UCMJ simply sets out practices and standards and policies and procedures that must be followed. And they are very different from civilian courts, like we know, where it takes years to try somebody for a crime. Years. And years and money and just hogwash and BS to get to the bottom line. The UCMJ is a little different. They gather all the evidence, they bring in the offender, and it is a yes and no question and answer session.
Mm-hmm.
Period. But they have the evidence.
Okay.
They have the evidence. The evidence cannot be questioned. It's not like a civilian court.
Right. Right.
It's a done deal. We got pictures, we got emails, we got tweets, we got this, we got that. What do you have to say about that?
I say that's why I have hope, because I say these people are going to.
Lindsey Graham walked Kavanaugh through the process
He did.
and made sure it was on record and everybody understood that it is perfectly legitimate and the decisions of the UCMJ court are recognized fully by the Supreme Court. That was something that we had to get clear, we being the Patriots, that we had to get clear before we went down that path.
Right.
So,
Thank you, Lindsay.
so to say that, so when they say that justice is going to be done, that's what they're talking about. And Bocce and I were talking. By the way, if you hadn't gotten familiar with Q, I'm going to keep telling you this, and you're going to eventually it'll come out. But it's already beginning to hit the mainstream media. This about Q, that about Q. They're talking it down. It's a conspiracy theory, but they haven't said anything for it, and it's been going on for 2 years. Q are a bunch of posts on a thing called 8chan, which is just a raw spot to post things. It's not pretty at all. It's all in code. And it's a lot of it has had to be in code because of national security issues. They could not come right out and say, boom. It had to be coded. And somebody had to figure out the code and the links and connect the dots. And those people are called the anons. Because everybody on this board is anonymous. Nobody has a name. They're just an anon. So everybody, all this whole patriot movement is a bunch of anons. All right?
Okay.
Now it has come to light that the predominance of the anons from the very beginning, the ones that are the best at cracking the code, the ones that are doing a fabulous job of deciphering what Q and some of the other players post and putting them together and telling the story are autistic. They are our friends with autism who have an uncanny ability to see things that the rest of us do not see.
That's for sure.
And I don't know whether you grew up with anybody like that or not. I did. They take a terrible beating
Yeah.
for being different,
Right.
but they are absolutely brilliant.
That's all I've heard about it.
I mean, they're just off the charts. They had trouble carrying on conversations because they can't focus.
But they're very creative.
Very
I've heard
creative.
They're very creative.
And they are the ones that have been deciphering this code like nobody's business.
Right.
Okay. And by the way, they are now being recruited to join the intelligence agencies because they're so good at it. What else can I tell you? What else can I tell you about the Q movement? What do you need? Ask me some questions.
Yeah.
I'm
just
immersed in it.
Yeah, you are, and this is great. This is absolutely great. But I want to go back to the CIA
Okay.
for a minute.
Yep.
Okay. You said that originally they weren't supposed to do anything within the country, but then you said that they had this life log, but they had to do it outside the country.
It was a project that they were working on
Right.
for 5 years, and they experimented outside the country. Yes.
Okay, so no American citizens were involved in that.
No.
So they were still within their
Yes.
contract.
But
Okay.
they realized that they needed to turn it on here. They wanted to turn it on here. And they couldn't do that. Welcome, Facebook.
Plus the CIA's, well, I mean, it's been used recently against American citizens.
Well, That's the whole deal with the FISA court.
That's exactly.
What, but you know who introduced? You know how they got to that to doing it on American citizens. You know who brought in this fake dossier that wound up in front of the FISA
Clinton
court?
campaign and the
But
Democrats.
where did it originate? Where did it originate? Great Britain,
Oh, okay.
outside the country.
Okay. Okay. I see where you're going.
These guys are slick. They're
Hey,
beyond
yeah.
slick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I was growing up, our nickname for them was Spooks.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
called them Spooks.
I've heard them.
And
I've heard that term before, but not referencing them.
I know.
Spies. Yeah.
Spooks. They were spooky.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'll tell you a little personal story. In the late 50s or early 60s, I grew up in my high school. The kids I went to school with, everybody's father worked for Texas A&M University or right around campus somewhere doing something. Everything was attached to the university, right? My dad was a traveling shoe salesman who left before anybody else got up on Monday morning and got back home after everybody was gone to bed on Friday night. He traveled all over 6 states, but he was always gone. So my classmates, my buddies, etc., was, "Where is your dad?" And I said, "He's selling shoes." "No, really." "What does your dad do?" I said, "He's a shoe salesman. He does this, he does this, he does." "Come on, Rick. What does he do?" I said, "All right. He's with the CIA." "Oh, okay, good." Once I told him he was a spy, "Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Throw the ball." It was hilarious. It was hilarious. I got tired trying to explain it to him. He's a spook. "Oh, okay. That's cool. Good for you."
Yeah.
Anyway, so what else do we need to know about? Okay, for instance, and you need to go. We'll put these out on the website. You need to go to QMAP, just the letter Q, MAP, like a map, like Google Maps. Go to QMAP.pub, P-U-B, like the place the Brits go to drink, the pub. QMAP.pub. And there it all is. It's deciphered. It's in easy to read little pictures. And they're 3 across and they're numbered and it's real easy to follow. You don't have to go to the 8chan or the 4chan and figure out what all the initials are and JS and J, blah, 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 which is kind of fun to do, but it's very time consuming and there's people that do that for you. So go to qmap.pub and get up to snuff on this. Or go to YouTube and I'll give you a whole list of YouTube channels that you can look at and get caught up to date. And it's real easy. It's a lot of fun, and it'll make you feel good about the patriot movement that has been going on for just about the same time Mueller's been investigating. But it really picked up. It started in October of 2017. So I've been filing for the last 6 months, maybe at the most, but more. The closer we got to what the Q people call the beginning, the closer we got to that, the closer I followed it, because I wanted to see it turn the tide from bad to good. Okay. And the Q folks kept saying, for over the last 30 days or so, we're in control. Follow the plan. Be calm. Be cool. We're in control now. We've got it. We got it. And now the way things are happening, it's exactly how they said they would happen. One of the things that the autists on the Q board have gotten really good at, there's a particular watch, an expensive watch, and they post a picture of this watch every once in a while, and it's got it's got a time and a date and yada yada yada, and they do this like the Q posted a picture of this watch and it said, "Check the time." That's all the post said. And the time was 3:15. Okay? That was it. And that was done late February, early March. Well, on 3:15, there was a post, the watch. Check the watch. It was at 3:42. So he told us the end of February to watch the board at 3:15. And at 3:50, and so everybody assumed, well, he's telling us whatever they were going to do, they had to put it off. Okay? But then on 3:15 was the day that the new Attorney General William Barr was standing next to Trump and his desk and made this public statement out loud so everybody could hear it, that your national emergency declaration is fully constitutional and you have the right to do this.
Good for him.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
In other words, the Department of Justice, the legal authority of the executive branch, said you're good. Okay? So they posted that out on the Q board. Guess what? It happened at exactly 3:42. So the code said on 3:15 at 3:42 we're going to have a big announcement.
Oh.
In advance. Now, did the Q people know what to look for? No, not really. But then after it happened, the Q deciphers put it together and said, holy guacamole, here's what he was telling us. On 3:15 at 3:42, this is what we're going to see. Because he told in advance. So those are called Q proofs. When something happens and you've been told about it a month or 2 weeks earlier, you kind of know that they're in charge.
Wow.
You follow me?
Yeah.
There's a lot of proof to this supposed conspiracy theory.
Huh.
Coming from
Amazing.
the inside. We don't know who, where, when, or what. Mm-hmm. All we know is that whatever it is, they're on it. Okay? So that's what I had to say about the watch.
That's incredible.
Now, we didn't talk that much about Lindsey Graham and the Kavanaugh deal, but just know that the Universal Code of Military Justice can be used, and actually it said should be used for certain crimes against, such as treason, sedition, child pornography, because that is considered a crime against humanity. Mm-hmm. So they take those out of the public court and put them into a very firm military court, where, I mean, it's justice and it is swift. There's no appeal process. They rarely. My understanding from back when I was in the Navy, if you're accused of something and you got to go into a military tribunal, you will have your answer before you leave the courtroom. Period. No matter what it's about. Mm-hmm. You're either guilty or you're not. Boom. If you're guilty, here's a sentence. It's nothing like public courtroom.
Mm-hmm. It's
swift justice.
Yeah. It's like your idea about connecting the dots and everything. It just seems like at this time in history, if I may use the word history, that those dots are starting to get closer and closer and closer together.
Oh, there's
and that maybe once and for all of these crooked politicians, all of this crap that we've been putting up with for years and letting it go. Oh, an example of that is the use of the IRS by presidents.
Yes.
Richard Nixon, that was part of his impeachment thing because he used the IRS, the information.
Yeah.
And he got slammed for it. But guess who didn't? FDR.
Right.
LBJ.
Right.
John Kennedy. All of them did it. All of them used, and of course Barack Obama. They all used it, but you didn't hear a peep. Now, what I'm trying to say is that it seems that finally, the American people are going to rise up and realize what's really going on.
Let me ask you a question, and I'll help you answer. I'll help you answer your own question.
Yeah.
All those people that you named, what was not around when that was going on?
What was not around?
Yeah.
I take a stab at it.
Yes,
Social media.
Oh.
The internet.
Well, yeah, for the other one, but Barack Obama, certainly the internet was
But
there.
the alternate media was not there.
Okay.
The mainstream media had absolute control over the news cycle.
Yes.
Andrew Breitbart opened the world up. That's why they killed him. He opened the world up to citizen journalists. You have a phone, you're a journalist. Take a picture. Turn the microphone on. You are now deputized. That was Andrew Breitbart.
That's really good. But may I
His
just
book
make a
is fabulous.
sidebar to
Yeah.
that, because we talked about Nixon tonight.
Yep.
During the Nixon administration was the beginning of the mainstream media as we know it today. They started to. That's where they got their start.
That's where they realized
Their
how much
practice.
power they had.
Yeah.
No, that's not where they got their start. That's where they realized how much power.
Right. So,
Right. And I mean, so who's the first government agency to sue Facebook over all this crud that they've been doing? You won't know. You won't believe who it is.
Okay.
Department of
Justice?
HUD. Dr. Ben Carson filed the first lawsuit against Facebook for their discriminatory practices on
Good for
housing.
him. Good
That they
for
were
him.
biasing, that they were biasing the housing numbers and information that they were putting out on Facebook.
Good, Ben. Carson.
That's the
Nice.
first one.
Dr. Carson.
This is just, remember,
Yeah.
the end of Mueller is the beginning of MAGA. It's the beginning of the Patriots being able to come to the surface and do what we've always known needed to be done. But the cloud had to
I'm
be
getting
off.
chills.
Good. The cloud had to be off of the president's office.
Yeah.
Not just Donald Trump, the president's office.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now, rock and roll, baby.
Awesome.
Time to hit the ground running. I hope, please do some Q homework. Just because it is a truly a patriotic movement, and I got news for you. It's global. The yellow vests are Q people in France. Guess where the yellow vests are now? England. They are up in arms in England. And this is all part of the same thing. This is the public rising up against the tyranny, the evil, ugly forces. This is good against evil. And the natural good is winning. It's coming out. And that's what it's all about. So pray. I don't care about going to church, but pray to God for the safety of Mr. Trump and for this country and for your fellow citizens that are here to fight it out to the end and make sure that we win. Front row. Time to go. You have been listening to the Doc Owen Show. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it. Now go out there this week and take care, pay attention, and God bless.
Bye-bye, folks. God bless.